Welcome to our Christmas special of the K&A Football Podcast. And finally, after many weeks of just me looking at air across from me and having to look at the screen to see Austin is here in studio for Christmas break. So we have a fun episode today. We have our normal recap, our normal pick'ems, and at the end, we have a special Christmas segment just for you guys. So stay tuned. We're excited for this week's episode. This is K&A Football. So Austin, we said before we came in, let's be a little festive. That's why I got the Santa hat.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit disappointed when you got out of your car wearing a gray t-shirt and gray sweatpants.
They don't need to know that I'm probably not gonna be wearing dress pants.
No, you were wearing gray sweatpants and a gray t-shirt. And I was very disappointed when I saw zero festivity out of you. And then you decided, poof, and you put on a very ugly Christmas sweater, which I guess is Christmas. So yeah, I guess you made up for it. But I was expecting kind of a Christmas Santa hat, but it's okay, I guess.
I mean, I don't think it's that ugly. I think it's a great sweater.
Your words were ugly Christmas sweater.
I don't think I said that.
No, you did.
I think I said this is the best Christmas sweater.
We were standing right outside of
anyone could ever own.
Our podcast studio. And you said that.
Not outside of Debbie's basement door. That did not happen. Yeah. So, festive Christmas sweater because, like you said, this is our Christmas episode because you'll be at the game next week, or the Panthers game next week, and then we won't have probably all that much time to actually get an episode in between everything that's going on with family being in town and everything like that. So, doing the Christmas episode a little bit early, but that's okay. Christmas always comes early. Comes earlier every year, I feel like.
Yeah. So one last thing before we get into it. I know the playoffs for fantasy football started this week. We'll just really quickly, because we have a lot of games to talk about this week. How was your fantasy games? Did you win in your playoffs? Did you lose heartbreakers? How did that go?
So I was in 3 playoff games this week.
Yeah. 3 out of what? 6 leagues?
Well, no. Because you know this because Yahoo does theirs late for some reason. So that's not on me. Okay, I made the playoffs in every league. I told you guys that last week. Let's see. In our 32-man league, I lost. Unfortunate, but there's really not much you can do about that.
So did I.
Yeah.
I was the 1 seed all year, and then
that's a far reach.
I had Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I had Derrick Henry. And he did not do anything for me. Then in our Dynasty League, I did end up winning. So I'm through to the next round, which is great. I put up, I think, the most points I put up all year. Other than that 1 week I lost to you, and I put up like 190, and you happened to put up 200 like a loser. And then in my one league in ESPN, I was talking about it last week with, the pseudonyms Simeon and Ethan. I did end up winning that one. I didn't start Mike Evans in that one, which was not a great move. So it actually came down to the wire. I needed Justin Jefferson to perform well, so I was glued to my TV in the Vikings game. But we pulled through, got the win. We're through to the championship in that one, so just got to make it happen. How did you do in yours?
I lost in 32-man as well.
Yeah.
But I had the bye in Dynasty, so I'm automatically in the semis. And then in one of my other leagues, I somehow won. I put up the most points in the league, so I got $10 out of that. And so I'm in the semis in, I guess 3, because our 6-man league as well. The playoffs start this week, and I play you. So
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, I was going to address this at the end of the episode. I will again, but this will be Caden's last episode with us this year. I'll talk about, or Caden will probably talk about why.
I'm moving to ESPN. I have accepted a gracious offer from ESPN.
Our contract negotiations could not go high enough.
So I really fought to stay here, but the offer was just too high, so I will be going to ESPN this year. But that's for the end of the episode. So
yeah. So next week when I talk about our fantasy matchup,
Oh.
they'll never know what the real story is.
No way you're gonna lie.
Because you'll never know.
That is wild. I'll have to call in from ESPN Studios. But all right, Debbie, if we want to go ahead and just start the first top 3 plays of the week, we're gonna have the first play. Trick play gone wrong in the Colts game. They threw it to Adonai Mitchell, who throws it back, and it was picked off for a 50-yard. I think this went down as a fumble because it was technically a backwards pass, they called it, but that is a pick 6 for, I think, what's his name? Nick Benito, I believe, who now has made himself a very strong case for Defensive Player of the Year. He has 2 pick 6s on the season, obviously one against the Browns and now here against the Colts, and he's second in the entire NFL in sacks. So he's right behind TJ Watt there. I don't even think TJ Watt's actually, is TJ Watt leading?
I actually don't know.
I might have to look that up, or Debbie can look that up. But he's very much in the race for Defensive Player of the Year. So that's a name that not a lot of people knew going into the season. I didn't know going into the season. But he's very well in Trey Hendrickson's leading the league in sacks. So yeah, I mean, second in the league in sacks and 2 pick 6s could very well win him the Defensive Player of the Year this year. So what do you think about that?
TJ Watt is 11.5 and Daniel Hunter is 12.
So where does that put?
Sorry, that's 12.5.
Okay. So he's in TJ Watt's in 3rd then for the sacks. Yeah, I mean, in terms of this guy that I've never heard of, good for him. In terms of the trick play from the Colts, I mean, we'll talk about them in a minute, but this was a must-win game for them, and to pull off some crap like that and then not to even come close to working is nothing but Colts right there. The next play we have here comes from the Saints-Commanders game. Can you talk about this one?
Yeah, so we saw a failed trick play on the last play, and this one we see a successful trick play. As the Saints are kind of getting steamrolled by Washington, they throw it to Cedric Wilson, who then throws it. Kamara makes a phenomenal catch in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown to finally get them on the board. They needed to do a trick play to have anything work, and it finally did work. And that kind of sparked a little bit of a comeback that we'll get to. Fell a little bit short, but yeah. So we saw unsuccessful trick play, and then we saw a very successful trick play.
Yeah, and I mean, that one almost didn't work there. You see Kamara barely got that one in, bobbling the ball the whole way, but ended up counting for a touchdown when they needed it the most.
Mm-hmm. And then for the third trick play, we've seen so far in the trick plays, I just call them the trick plays. On the top plays, 2 trick play touchdowns. And another theme of this week was chubby tutties, which if you don't know what that is, we just decided to call it a chubby tutty before we started the podcast, which is an offensive lineman or a big man scoring a touchdown. We saw one in Detroit. We saw one in Cincinnati, or I guess they played in Tennessee. We saw at least one more. I can't think of it right now off the top of my head, but we saw many offensive line or just big man touchdowns this week. And so we chose our favorite one. This one came from the Lions game. Debbie, you can go ahead. Dan Skipper, the offensive tackle for the Lions, gets it, and he takes this thing a whole 9 yards and barrels into the end zone for a touchdown. And that's probably an amazing feeling for him, because how many times is the offensive lineman going to score a touchdown, especially him? I mean, he looks like he is like 50 years old from that picture.
Yeah, that's rough.
He
right
has
there.
Grandkids at home, and he just scored a touchdown.
I mean, good for him. Look how slow he's moving, though. Like, they almost catch him. He almost does not get in there. But good for him. Good for all the big men who get their touchdowns and their shot at glory this week.
Yeah, and let me just say, those jerseys and those helmets, those are so fire.
They're really sweet.
Those are probably the coolest helmets in the league.
Okay, fine, I can agree. I was going to say I like the Bengals all white.
Those are nice.
I do like these a lot.
They're so cool. I don't know. I didn't catch most of this game, and I was really bummed that I wasn't bummed that I was bummed when I saw the like the highlight and realized they were wearing those helmets, and I was like, dang, they could have worn those helmets any other game that I watched.
Yeah. I also didn't get to watch that game. I was busy winning a euchre tournament. So
where are you? You won?
No, I came in third, but
so
it's close enough.
The misinformation, guys, is already happening. So next week when he says he won, just know that's most likely not what happened. He's already spreading the misinformation. But All right, so we're going to go straight into the Week 15 recap. We have a lot of games that happened this week because no teams were on buys. So we're going to jump right into one of the most boring games that I have ever laid my eyes on, and it was the Rams and the 49ers on Thursday Night Football. The final score was Rams 12 and 49ers 6. How do you get that score, you ask? A total of 4 field goals to 2 field goals. The Rams kicked 4 field goals and won this game.
Yeah. Thursday Night Football continues to be one of the worst things to ever happen to sports. I don't know if the NFL and Roger Goodell hates Amazon. I feel like that might be something to look into. Does he have any bias against Amazon because he continues to give them actually the worst games? I mean, we bring it up probably every week, but that one game 2-3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, Colts Broncos, was it Colts Broncos? And they only scored field goals, went to overtime, scored a field goal to win the game. Terrible game. This one was worse just because there wasn't the excitement of overtime. Everyone played bad, clearly. It was raining, so I'll give them that. Brock Purdy did not play a good game, clearly, in a must-win game for them. Like, they needed to win this game in order to try to climb back up the standings, get themselves into the conversation for the playoffs. According to, quote, an insider. No one knows what an insider is, but they always like
We're
to
insiders.
The inside, yeah,
We're insiders.
Now. We're just going to start spreading misinformation and call ourselves. According to our sources.
That's 2 times already this episode. Austin's already been spreading misinformation. Guys,
no, I haven't spread it yet.
be ready for the lies. You just talked about you're going to spread misinformation.
That's said we could. We won't, though, because we're better than that.
Debbie, you need to keep this guy on his toes next week because he's going to be lying through his teeth.
But anyways, an insider said that this game hurt the amount of money that the 49ers are willing to give Brock Purdy next year. Not that they're not going to bring Brock Purdy back because they think that he's their guy. They think that he's the future for them. This season, I think, has been rocky for them, so I don't know if he is that guy, if he's that guy you can move forward with as the for sure guy for the next, 10 years. But who knows? We'll see at the end of the year what they do, what money they give him, what money they were willing to give him, because that'll all come out, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say the same thing about Purdy because just 2 or 3 weeks ago, I famously came on here, and I've been a big Brock Purdy hater for his career,
Really?
and I came on after he missed a game and they got steamrolled, and I said, maybe I was wrong about Brock Purdy. Maybe he's more important than we realize because if they were this bad without him, maybe he is important. And ever since then, I've just been proved right up in like my entire stance for my whole Brock Purdy's career has been correct because since then he's done absolutely nothing. And this game went 14 for 31, 142 yards and a pick.
Yeah.
And I mean, yes, I know they have injuries. I know it was raining, but the Rams don't have a good defense, and he just put up one of the worst QB performances we've seen this season. And yeah, like you said, he's hurting his future contract. And I think if you take the end of last season and like if you're in this offseason and you say that Brock Purdy is at a spot where he might not get a big extension, he might not even come back to the 49ers next season, that's mind-blowing. But the way that he's played this season and the way that the 49ers have played, I don't think it would surprise too many people at this point.
Yeah. And then before we move on to the next game, it's worthy to note, shout out to Cooper Kupp for being the worst, scoring 0 fantasy points this week.
In the playoffs. In
the playoffs, if you're in any regular league or if you're in a bum league, right before the playoffs, you need to make that push. Cooper Kupp scores 0 for you. It didn't end up hurting me because in the league that I had him, I had already clinched, so it's okay. But still, for a lot of people, that's tough. Mm-hmm. All right, the next game we have here is going to be my team. Yay, us. The Browns played the Chiefs this week. The Chiefs won 21-7. Not great. Jameis Winston got benched. I think we had 5 picks in this game. It was 5 picks this game. Jameis Winston threw 4 of them. Dorian Thompson-Robinson threw 1 of them. We had a fumble. It was really a great time. It wasn't.
No, Jameis threw 3 and DTR threw 1.
Okay. So we had 5 turnovers then. Yeah, season's over. We're tanking. It's fine. I don't really care anymore. In unfortunate news for the NFL, Nick Chubb broke his foot in this game. That's actually not the worst thing to happen because I was like, every single time that Nick Chubb touched the ball in this game, I was like, man, I really wish they would stop giving him the ball because I want to see him for the rest of his career, and I'm worried that he's going to blow out his knee in games that don't matter. So let's get him off the field. So in my mind, breaking his foot, very unfortunate. I wish him a very speedy recovery, but that is such a recoverable injury. You know, everyone breaks bones at some point. He'll be fine. He'll come back. He'll play football. It's okay. He's out for the rest of the year, so I don't have to worry about him hurting anything. I'm okay with that. And then Patrick Mahomes, he hurt his ankle in this game. It looked painful. I'm not going to lie. He got caught under like 3 Browns defenders, and his ankle was all sorts of twisted. So he was hobbling off the field. They said that he did not break it. It's just like sprained real good. So who knows what that means for the Chiefs. Obviously, they've already clinched their division. They're looking to clinch the 1 seed. And so the question for the Chiefs is, you know, where do you start Patrick Mahomes moving forward? Do you let him rest for a couple weeks, start Carson Wentz, try to move forward with him for the rest of the regular season? Do you try to push Mahomes through it, try to get the number 1 seed, try to get the bye? It's really a game of how risky are you willing to play it.
That's a bummer. I was going to say trivia question. Do you know who the Chiefs backup is? Because he's not a slouch. I mean, Carson Wentz has gone. He almost won MVP a couple seasons ago, then obviously tore his ACL and hasn't really been the same since. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do because they got the Texans this week, and then the next week they play a very short week because they play Saturday, and then they go and play on Christmas Day against the Steelers. So that's 2 teams that aren't the Browns or the Chargers. No, the Chargers are good. The Browns are like the Raiders, you know. You're playing 2 pretty good, solid teams, contrary to what we've said about the Texans. They're still a team to pay attention to. So if you're going into both those games without Mahomes, and definitely looking at the way the Bills have been playing when we get to that game, that 1 seed could be in jeopardy, and that is obviously what every team in the AFC is coveting right now, because going to Kansas City in the playoffs versus going to Buffalo is a massive difference. So you really, if you're Kansas City, want to try to not rush Mahomes back, of course, but you want him out there because your chances with Mahomes are much greater than Carson Wentz.
Yeah. If it's me, I'm sitting Mahomes against the Texans. I'm starting it against the Steelers.
I'm not too worried about Houston, the way that they've been playing, but I would agree. I would do the same thing.
And my reason, too, would be that the Steelers are, other than the Bills, in the most contention for that number 1 seed. If they were to continue winning and the Bills and Chiefs were to falter a little bit, the Steelers are sitting right there, like we said last week. So that's what I would do. We'll see what they decide to do. It obviously always depends on how Mahomes is doing as well.
The next game, we got the Bengals going to Tennessee, and the Bengals kind of handled business in this one, put up another massively high-scoring game for the Bengals. They put up 37 points in this one. Giving up 27 to Will Levis and the Titans is a little bit sad, but that's what we've come to expect from the Bengals this year. Will Levis was actually benched early in this game, and Mason Rudolph came in and played very well. He threw for 209 yards and 2 touchdowns. He did throw a pick, but it's Mason Rudolph, and you have to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow just continues to do Joe Burrow things, throwing for 271 yards and 3 touchdowns. He did throw 2 picks, but, you know, you still handled business against a team that you should handle business with. So I don't think there's too many storylines with this one. I don't think the Bengals are able to make a push unless they do manage to win out, which could obviously be a possibility with this offense. But the Titans fall to 3-11. They continue to be the bottom of the barrel, but the Bengals, they really need to continue to make a push if they want a chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah. Obviously, they're not quite eliminated yet, but a single loss will definitely push them that direction. Next game here, we talked about it a little bit in our top 3 plays of the week. We have the Commanders and Saints. Commanders end up getting the win 20-19. Jaden Daniels. Switch those letters. Had another great game. Daniel Jones, Jaden Daniels. It's pretty much the same name.
Right.
Just go with me here. Continue to have another great game. Pretty much locks for offensive rookie of the year. I don't think there's anyone else even close. He went
No,
20
not Bo Nix.
No, it's Jaden Daniels for sure.
Well, I think it also is Jaden Daniels, but I think Bo Nix is.
Bo Nix has had a great season, but Jaden Daniels is. I mean, I guess let's see. What is the
Broncos?
The Broncos at? Yeah, but what's their record? I forget what their record is. Anyway, I can't find it, so we'll ignore that for now.
We'll see.
We'll see in a minute. Goes 25 for 31. They're 9-5.
So they're both sitting at 9-5.
Okay.
Do you want to revisit that conversation?
We'll revisit that conversation in a couple weeks when Bo Nix falters. Had 226 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think let's see. Debbie pulled this up. Through 15 weeks, Jaden Daniels has a 1.5% turnover-worthy plays, which is second in the league. The game against the Saints marks his 4th game this season with a completion percentage of 80% or more. His completion percentage for the season, that's at 70.5. 17 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions.
And that is insane.
Yeah.
For especially a rookie QB.
Yeah. I think the Saints almost pulled off the comeback like we talked about. For some reason, the clock sat. Do you see it?
I did. It was a little bit
4
strange.
seconds for a couple seconds there.
The Saints almost got gifted a free win.
But that didn't happen. Commanders win. Moving forward, making that playoff push.
Mm-hmm. Looking here at the box score is really funny because obviously Jake Haener started this game for the Saints, and he was benched, I believe. Or was he injured? I think he was just benched.
Yeah.
He's not good. Pretty early on for Spencer Rattler, who then also didn't do very good. And obviously Cedric Wilson, who we saw on the trick play, throw a touchdown. So looking at the Saints passing stats, you see Spencer Rattler, his stats, you see Jake Haener, and then you see Cedric Wilson. And looking at their QBR, you got Jake Haener, who had a 2.3.
Oh.
Which is one of the worst I've ever seen in my life, honestly.
2.3 QBR.
2.3 QBR.
That's insane.
The max is like what? Like 150?
Yeah.
So he had a 2.3. Spencer Rattler had an 80. Not terrible. And Cedric Wilson had an 100.0. So the wide receiver, Cedric Wilson, had a higher QBR than any of the quarterbacks the Saints played this game, which I just thought was very funny when I pulled this up. But yeah, the Commanders got a much needed win. They've been struggling the last month or so of the season, so this was a much needed win to stay in that playoff hunt. Right now, I believe they're the 7th seed in the NFC, so they need to continue winning to stay in that spot. And they have a really tough game this week against Debbie. Cover your ears for a second. They have a really tough game against the Eagles this week, so it could be another loss for the Commanders here. But it's going to be a big game. It's going to be a test to see if they can squeak into those playoffs. All right, Debbie, you can uncover your ears. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. But yeah.
All right. Next game we have is the Ravens and Giants. Don't need to talk about this one for too long at all. Ravens, of course, handle business like we said, 35-14. Lamar Jackson, incredible day, 21 for 25, 290, 5 touchdowns. Unfortunately, that took away from anything the ground game could do, so Derrick Henry put up no points this week.
Yeah.
Very unhelpful for fantasy.
Very, but I'm very fortunate that I had a bye in the Dynasty League because he would have gotten me a whopping 9 points, I think it was, and that wouldn't have, or maybe it was 6. Wouldn't have been very helpful, whatever he had. But yeah, Lamar Jackson threw for 5 touchdowns, like you said. He had a play where he was running and he literally was pulling his pants up as he was running because they were falling. I mean, him and Josh Allen are 1A, 1B for MVP this season. It's going to be Josh Allen for the late season heroics he's having right now. But Lamar Jackson is doing things that we never see. We saw his falling down and then stiff arming, who was Sam Hubbard for a touchdown earlier this season. And now we just see him literally pulling up his pants as he's running. Granted, it was playing against the Pee Wee Giants. So, you got to take that into a little bit of account. But it is.
It's still an NFL team.
It still is. But I was talking to my dad about it, and he said the same thing. He was like, here we go. Here's Debbie pulls up. He's pulling up his pants as he's running. Makes it. When you juke the dude so hard that your pants literally fall down. Oh. What happened? Oh, here we go. Oh, the juke was after. He jukes while he's pulling his pants up. That is crazy.
Yeah, doesn't even need his arms to run.
Yeah. But I was talking to my dad about it, and he was like, Lamar Jackson's so good, blah, 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 blah. And he was just, and he's not a Ravens fan. Like, he can't stand the Ravens, obviously. He's like, but he was playing the Giants, so you got to keep that in mind, which is true. But the Giants, like you said, are still an NFL team, but they're just kind of trash.
It might be more of a challenge to play a CFL team, but
yeah, go play Ohio State. No,
Oh.
Ryan Day is our head coach. That wouldn't be a challenge either. But yeah, Lamar Jackson, great game. Giants continue to struggle.
yeah. Another game we can speed through. Sorry, Caden.
No, that's fine.
Cowboys Panthers. Cowboys handle business 30-14. So, we thought going into this game, I thought at least, I know you definitely thought that this might be a game. The Cowboys are for sure struggling. The Panthers are on an incredible hot streak. Maybe this could get interesting. The Panthers win. This could be a lot of fun. But obviously that doesn't happen. Bryce Young didn't play terrible again. He's actually playing very well towards the end of this year. 19 for 28, 219, 1 touchdown on an absolute bomb to you can say his name. I know that
Jalen Coker, yeah.
Yeah.
I was really disappointed. I thought this was a game that the Panthers would win. And I thought they'd win pretty easily, honestly, the way they've been playing the last 3 weeks and the way the Cowboys have played. But yeah, like you said, it was the Cowboys. The Panthers got a stop on the opening drive, drove down the field, and then fumbled in the red zone. And ever after that, it was just Cowboys the rest of the way. They had 6 sacks. I mean, the offensive line didn't even act like they wanted to be there. But, I mean, not much to say. You just got to move past this game and look forward to next week. And I'm really mad at myself because what's this? Oh, is this Jalen Coker's touchdown? Yeah. Oh, this is the first time I'm totally going to watch this. I haven't watched this 18 times. Let's see it. Let's see. This was Bryce Young's longest touchdown pass of his career. I mean, understandably so. 83 yards.
It's a long one.
Yeah. Jalen Coker, the undrafted rookie wide receiver who's actually been really good this season. So, and that was a big play at the moment. That made it 10-7 right before halftime. But obviously that did not matter in the second half. But so as some of you guys know, I don't think Austin and Keegan know. I haven't told them yet. I'm going to the Panthers game this weekend with Evan.
What?
I know.
I had no idea.
I know. I'm going to the game this weekend. And so last week, like before this game, I bought the tickets because I was like, they've lost 3 in a row. The tickets are going to be the cheapest they've been because we're going to play the Cowboys on Sunday and we're going to win. And people are going to be like, oh, and the tickets are going to get more expensive because we won. So I was like, I'm going to be smart. I'm going to buy the tickets now because I was like, we're going to win and the tickets are going to rise. I wish that I'd have waited till this week because after this, those tickets probably dropped to like 10 cents. I mean, not really because the Panthers still have looked a lot better.
Yeah.
But they really disappointed this week and they were really... I don't really want to look at how much they cost because I would be kind of mad.
Yeah.
But
I think I told you when I bought the Browns tickets, when Avery and I went, like I bought them after the Browns win against the Jaguars. Because I'm like, hey, like we're actually playing pretty good football. I'm going to buy these now because if we continue to win, these prices are going up. And then they proceeded to lose like 5 straight. So the tickets dropped by like half.
oh my goodness.
It was rough. Yeah, Debbie, what are the prices looking like?
Go to section.
Stadium? Oh my! Go see what it. Oh my! Less than $30 for tickets.
No,
It's looking like a hockey game.
wait, scroll. I know where my section is. Go to section 542. We're in the very, very front of 542. It's at the 50. Oh, it disappeared. It just disappeared. The numbers were there.
You got to back up a little bit, Debbie. Okay, maybe not. I lied.
We're sitting like in the very front of 542. So like they're not bad. Like when me and my dad went to the game,
Yeah.
remember the view of where we were sitting?
Yeah.
We're sitting about 10 rows up from that. So it's not bad seats. We
Okay,
can see
yeah.
like the whole. Here we go. Go to 542. It's at about the 50. Oh, if that's the case, then the tickets actually went up. Like go like. Oh, I guess it. Oh, you go to row 10. We're about there. Scroll up a little bit. Like no, like back up to row 10.
Here.
Like yeah, that's fine. I think we're around there. How much is that? 105. Okay, I'm glad I bought my tickets last week because they did go up. That doesn't
Look
make
at
any
you.
sense.
This one's 50. Dave, there's 2 for 58.
Yeah, you know how much I got mine for?
What? How much?
40.
Oh.
Ooh,
I know.
a businessman.
Let's go.
Making business
Hey,
decisions. out
forget
here.
everything I just said about the Panthers. Great job, me. Man. But
You're
yeah.
really smart. You're
Yeah.
really good at this football
So
stuff.
if you guys didn't know, I'm going to the game next week. So, all right, we can move on to the Jets and Jaguars game, a battle of two teams with 3 wins going into it. And the Jets, they've looked a lot better the last
They have.
couple of weeks, but they just haven't managed to pull it off. And they finally did this week with the 32-25 win. Devontae Adams in this game looked like vintage Devontae Adams as he put up 198 receiving yards, the second most in his career. 2 touchdowns, 9 receptions. He had a great game, and there's really he's been clicking honestly these last couple of weeks, and 48 fantasy points at least in our league in Dynasty. And what's really frustrating is that I had a bye, which I mean it's not. You never want to say, "Darn it, I have a bye,"
Right.
but
you wish that those points would have counted for something.
why couldn't you put those 48 points up next week? I guarantee you this week he's going to score 7. 100%. I can almost shake your hand and promise you that right now because that's just what's going to happen. But the Jets have looked a lot better as of late is what I was getting at. And they moved to 4-10. I mean, their season's been over, but a good win for the morale of the team because it's definitely been low and struggling. And the Jaguars fall to 3-11, and it's looking like they're going to have a top 3 pick, and Doug Peterson should be gone at the end of the season.
Yeah, most likely. Mac Jones did not look bad. Shout out to him for trying to revive his career. Travis Etienne exists. He was the leading rusher for the Jaguars, so shout out to him with a whopping 65 yards on 14 carries.
He does. We talked about
some
that
Josh
last
Jacobs
week, didn't
type
we?
numbers.
That was last
Yeah.
week.
All right, that's enough of this game. I don't
Yeah,
wanna
I was
talk
going to
about
say
it
that.
anymore.
I didn't have much to talk about other
Yeah.
than Devontae.
All right, next game, Dolphins Texans. The Texans need to keep winning, and they do. 20-12. Tua throws the game-sealing interception, and did you see the play? After he threw that game-sealing interception, he made a pure business decision. Did not go for the tackle.
That's pretty smart on Tua's.
He's running for the tackle and kind of pulls up and lets him run by him. And it's like, okay, that's kind of fair.
Was
Because,
it pick 6?
No,
Oh.
he ended up getting got by the.
Oh, it just
offensive
popped
lineman.
up on the corner of my screen. Oh, that wasn't the third one, was it?
I don't know.
I see what you mean. It just pulled up on my screen. That is so. Shout out ESPN. That's kind of weird. They're probably listening to us because they literally just pulled up the play. That's actually very concerning.
And you're going to work for that?
Oh yeah, that's my company. Let's go.
No wonder this.
Yeah, they want to make sure that they made a good investment with me. But yeah, Tua didn't have a good game, is what you were getting
Yeah.
at. Only 196 yards and 3 picks in this game. The Dolphins needed this win. They need every win they can the final stretch of the season, and they dropped to 6-8. They're a long shot to make the playoffs now as well.
Yeah.
They would need to win now and have a couple other things happen for them. But the Texans, they once again just found a way to win an ugly game. They moved to 9-5. They have a game against Kansas City, but might be against Carson Wentz. So we'll see what happens. Nico Collins had 2 touchdowns in this game, but only 17 yards. So that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is wild.
That's a pretty impressive feat. But yeah, I mean, not too impressive for anything on the Texans. I mean, CJ Stroud only 130 yards. Their highest rusher was 35 yards. I mean, I don't know how they got down the field. Actually, interceptions from Tua.
Interception
Yeah.
from Tua. That's what did it. And, clearly you only need 17 yards on 2 catches to get the touchdowns, so you didn't have to go very far.
Yeah, still a productive fantasy day for 17 yards.
Yeah. All right, next game, Broncos-Colts.
The rematch of the game we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. This one was more entertaining because there were way more touchdowns in this one. Broncos moved to 9-5, like we talked about earlier. 31-13 against the Colts. Obviously, the Colts needed to win this game big time. We talked about this last week. They were the 8 seed as of last week. Need to keep winning. Obviously, take a big loss. Terrible trick play. I don't think the Colts are making the playoffs. I don't think they're making that push, especially with the teams in the AFC that are knocking on the door I think they want it more, like the Bengals, obviously the Dolphins. Colts are struggling as of late, and I don't think they're going to make the push.
Yeah, the Colts needed this one really, really badly because them and the Broncos are kind of battling it out for a playoff spot. And early on it looked like they maybe had it. They were playing very well early, and then Jonathan Taylor broke away a 48-yard touchdown run. And then drops the ball at the 1 yard line, just like everybody does, and it makes no sense. What a great podcast person. Jonathan Taylor.
Oh.
I
Yikes.
don't know who that is. Jonathan Taylor goes ahead, drops the ball at the 1. I mean, the amount of players that just do this is insane. And you would think that it would just be ingrained in their minds, like, you don't do that. But obviously costing his team a touchdown. Yes, looking at the final score, it wouldn't have mattered. But at the time, it would have been about 20-7. That's a massive difference.
Yeah.
Than 13-7 Broncos ball.
Yeah.
But
I mean, this activity that players do where they drop the ball before the end zone.
it's college stuff.
That is college stuff. You see it in college all the time. And the diving with the ball outstretched, trying to get to the end zone.
I don't have an issue with that because
I have an issue with that.
You want to go ahead and make sure you get the touchdown, so you reach.
I understand
forward.
that, but
I understand.
if you get hit, that ball's coming out, and you end up with the same situation here where you end up with a touchback because the ball just trickles out the side.
So the Browns Chiefs playoff game a couple years ago.
Mistargeting call. Yeah.
Okay, don't think about that part. I'm just saying the part.
But yes.
You're mad that he reached.
Yes, he should not have reached.
Huh? I disagree.
Take unless it's
Well, yeah, fourth down or something.
fourth down, end of the game, need the touchdown.
I disagree, but very much so because I totally understand reaching for the end zone and trying to get the touchdown and hit the pylon. I actually think that's you're definitely in the minority of disagreeing.
I understand that I'm definitely in the minority, but I think it's
Debbie.
What?
Oh, Debbie doesn't have a mic.
It's fine. What are you saying?
Debbie, just give me a thumbs up or thumbs down on. Do you think it's smart? Debbie has a lot of football knowledge, just so you know. Austin.
Yeah.
Do you think it's smart or dumb for a player to reach ahead and try to reach the end zone if he's being
I've
tackled?
always thought it's a little risky, depending on.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's
Debbie has
risky.
no football knowledge.
Oh, but if he would have agreed with your side, you would have said
I'm like 50-50.
Debbie's very smart. Debbie knows all about football.
Debbie knows nothing about
Oh
football.
my!
50-50. It's
All of
not-
a sudden,
you
Debbie
can't-
knows no ball.
You can't think that it's not a little risky.
No, I really don't. We'll see. Maybe
I mean, it's so easy to pop it out.
I hope. You know what? Just for your sake,
don't say. I know
I
exactly what
know,
you're going to say.
I hope that who's the guy that you really like? This undrafted
Oh,
rookie wide receiver?
Jalen Coker.
Jalen Coker. I hope that when you're at the game this week, he gets a 90-yard bomb. There's the safety screaming along. Okay, is he gonna make it? I don't know. He dives for the end zone, ball outstretched. Safety comes in, hits him. Ball pops out, trickles out the side of the end zone. Touchback, Cardinals ball.
Dude, and if it happens, it'd be like, wow, that's what
No,
you're supposed to do.
That's not what you're gonna say. That's not what you're gonna say. You're gonna say he should have held that ball.
That's not true.
You're gonna say we need that touchdown, and you're gonna lose again, and you're gonna be upset, and you're gonna say this guy has stone hands. That's what you said about Xavier Leggett.
That was way different. That's a
Oh
draw.
my!
That makes no sense. Xavier Leggett, by the way, only 2 catches in the game. He's looking like kind of trash. Do you want him in Dynasty? I know you really, really, really wanted him.
I'm good now.
You sure?
I'm gonna go pick up the other guy. Actually,
I have him.
shoot, you would. All right, next game that we're gonna talk about here. Fantastic game.
Yeah.
Game of the year, probably. We say that probably every other week. But Bills-Lions. Bills win 48-42. What a great game. Honestly, can we get this as the Super Bowl? Because I would not be disappointed. There was no defense played in this game whatsoever. But that's okay. Biggest thing for me, David Montgomery tears his MCL out for the rest of the year.
Why is that big for you?
I have David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs in Dynasty, the two-headed monster. They both put up at least 15 points a week each. Sometimes they'll put up 20 apiece. It's great. So, very unfortunate. We'll see how that affects the Lions because the Lions are absolutely injury-riddled this season. They cannot stay healthy, especially in this back half of the year. So, we'll see how that affects them moving forward.
Yeah.
But probably going to have to move more to the air. But the Bills are firing on all cylinders. Josh Allen is just unfair. He had the chest pass that was called back for holding, so that's very unfortunate. But insane game.
Yeah, Josh Allen is playing like a different human, like a not even a human, an alien. There we go. Out there these last couple of weeks. Obviously, they lost last week to the Rams, but he put up one of the greatest performances we've seen in a long time. And then we saw another insane performance this week, not just through the air, but through the ground as well, with 2 rushing touchdowns and another 2 through the air. I mean, if you have Josh Allen in fantasy football, you're cruising right now because back-to-back weeks he's put up 40 plus, maybe 50 plus, depending on your scoring. So Josh Allen is leading the Bills to an 11-3 record. They still, unfortunately, are 2 games away from the Chiefs because the Chiefs just manage to pull it off every single week. But if Mahomes misses time, like we've talked about, and Carson Wentz plays, they could easily move up because, I mean, you're going ahead and you're playing the Lions, who many people going into this game were saying are the best team in the NFL.
Yeah.
You 48-42, it was a lot more of a blowout than that. They were dominating this game, and the Lions made a push late. But, I mean, props to Jared Goff. Threw for almost 500 yards and 5 touchdowns and still managed to lose this game. So that is a bummer for Jared Goff. He played a great game. But the Bills are, I'm going to change my stance when I talked about the Eagles last week. I think the Bills are the best team in the NFL right now. They're playing like it week in and week out. They're playing amazing. Sorry, Debbie. I know you're a little frustrated by that. But Josh Allen's playing great. The Bills are playing great. They got James Cook the ball finally. And I mean, they mounted results. And I will have you know, I just got a text from my mom, and it says that she said, I agree with Austin in terms of fumbling the ball, which
There we go.
my mom, I know it's crazy enough, she'll watch some football games, but she doesn't she's not an avid football watcher, so she doesn't know.
Is she is she more or less ball knowledge than Debbie?
Debbie, don't take this as an insult. No, don't take it as an insult, Debbie, because she's grown up with like I've always. So there's always she's always seen the games on in our house, so she watches them, and she acts like she cares about the Panthers games.
That's so kind of her.
That is so kind. I think it's more like she doesn't want
more phones through walls.
No.
Oh,
that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen.
It's never happened.
The podcast
You're
does
right.
not know about anything like that. All right, we need to move on before we keep going. The Steelers went to the Eagles, the Battle of Pennsylvania, and the Eagles handled business in this one and won 27-13. Jalen Hurts had a pretty good game with 290 yards and 2 touchdowns. Saquon actually had a really quiet game, but playing against the Steelers defense, it's understandable. A.J. Brown, after all the talk this past week about him and Jalen Hurts being mad, they became friends again because he had 110 yards and a touchdown this one. Devontae Smith had 109 and a touchdown, so only 1 yard off, which is kind of a crazy stat. But the Eagles just rolled kind of from start to finish. It got close a little bit in the middle of the game, but the Eagles, they're 1A, 1B, them and the Bills. So them, the Bills, the Lions, the Vikings, I guess, the Chiefs. I mean, you always got to put them in there. Those are the teams that the Ravens. Those are teams contending for a Super Bowl this season. I know the Steelers, you say that as well, but for some reason, I just can't picture them.
I can't either. But every time I look down at their record, and I mean now they're 10-4. They were 10-3 before this week, but I mean they're playing much better than I would have ever anticipated. So obviously props to them. But yeah, Eagles handle business. Tough week for running backs, I guess. No running backs really had a fantastic game.
Well, think about this for the Steelers. They went into this game at 10-3. They lost, obviously, so now they dropped to 10-4. They play Baltimore this week. Really tough game.
Yeah.
Wanting to get their revenge for earlier in the season. And then they play Kansas City on Christmas Day. They could very well go to 10-6 in the span of like a week and a half because of the way the schedule worked with Christmas. So that's crazy.
That is crazy.
But that's why when people are saying like they can't really see them as a Super Bowl contending team, it's because they haven't had like a gauntlet part of their schedule, and they're hitting that right now. And we might see if they go out and they win these next 2 games or go 1-1. Sure, if they move to 10 or 12-4, yeah, absolutely. But there's a very well chance they're going to be 10-6 and maybe the 6th or 7th seed in the AFC.
Right.
And right now, I think they're leading their division, so it could very easily flip.
Yeah. All right, next game here. Let me talk about it too much. Cardinals Patriots. Cardinals moved to 7-7. They win 30-17. You're seeing these guys next week. Any takeaways? Anything you're looking for?
I think I'm just excited because their offense is fun and good, and the Panthers' defense is trash, and the Panthers' offense is fun and good, and the Cardinals' defense is trash. So I think it should be like a 100-100 game. And if that's the case, then I think I spent my money wisely. Either way, I'm super excited. But yeah, the Cardinals' offense is great, and they're needing to get all the wins they can at this point in the season to try to make a push to make the playoffs or maybe somehow win the division. You did what you had to do against the Patriots. I mean, you're supposed to be the Patriots. You did. Drake May had an okay game with 200 yards and a touchdown with 1 interception. But, I mean, the Cardinals did what they're expected to do. Nothing too crazy in this game. I didn't have much to say really about this. James Conner had another great day on the ground. Trey McBride had a great game. But, yeah.
Yeah. All right, next game is the Buccaneers and Chargers. I was anticipating this game to be a lot closer. The Chargers offense has been playing very well. Their defense also has been playing very well. But the Buccaneers, they really want the division. They really want to make the playoffs. And so they win this one 40-17. It's a pretty big margin there. Baker Mayfield goes 22 for 27, 288, 4 touchdowns. Mike Evans, 9 receptions for 159 yards. Crazy. 2 touchdowns on that. They're firing on all cylinders right now. I mean, they are really picking it up in the NFC. I wouldn't want to play the Buccaneers if I were any NFC team right now. Obviously, the Buccaneers defense plays well enough to keep the Chargers offense at bay. I don't think that's the strongest part of their game, though. If I'm any NFC team, I don't want to see the Buccaneers in the last part of my schedule here.
Mm-hmm. And I don't understand how Baker had the opportunity to throw for 288 yards because Rachaad White rushed the ball for 15 times. He rushed 15 times for 64 yards. Bucky Irving, who's the rookie running back, who is amazing, by the way. He's come on and he's been a phenomenal running back. Another 15 carries. He had 117 yards, so almost doubled up Rachaad White. So Bucky Irving is the starter. He is a stud. But then Sean Tucker brought in another 7 carries. So that right there is 37 carries on the ground. How are you managing to throw for 288 yards? I mean, like you said, everything is working for them. They're clicking everywhere against the Chargers defense that's one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah.
And you put up 40 points in a game that a lot of people expected to be close or even the Chargers could win. Herbert didn't have a great day. Yeah, Debbie, I said it. 195 yards, only 2 touchdowns and a pick. They only ran the ball 11 times the entire game. And for most of the season, that's been the Chargers' identity is run. But when they were losing early, they kind of got away from it, and it turned into just, a pass fest. And clearly that did not work for the Chargers.
All right, next game, another blowout. We have the Packers and Seahawks. Both teams need to keep going. Packers need the win to keep chasing the Vikings. The Seahawks need the win to maintain.
Well, the Rams took it now.
Well, yeah, the Seahawks were on top of the division. They needed to maintain that. Now they take the loss here, 30-13. Move down. Geno Smith gets hurt in this game. Who came in to replace him? Sam Howell. Yeah, I remember that guy. He used to play for the Commanders. Played pretty well over there, actually. I was always pretty impressed when he played. Did not do as well over here today.
No.
Obviously. Packers move to 10-4. Jordan Love, 20 for 27, 229, 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs, 25 carries, 94 yards.
Did I not say it on the last episode of the podcast?
You did.
Did you see my message at the start of this game?
Yeah, I did.
Because the game started, Packers got the ball first. Josh Jacobs run. Josh Jacobs run. Josh Jacobs run. Josh Jacobs run. He had 8 straight touches to start the game. They did one play. They got down to about the 3 or something. They did another play, and it was a pass. And Jordan Love decided to run and got tackled at the 1. They bring back in Josh. Touchdown. So, I mean, it worked.
It works.
I guess. But, like, I'm telling you, dude, it is so boring watching the Packers because it's Josh
They keep
Jacobs.
winning, though. Like,
Josh
they have to do what they have
Josh
to do to
Jacobs.
win.
I know, but, like, 26 carries and you're getting 94 yards. Like, you should get way more than that if you're getting 26 carries. Like for example, Bucky Irving had 117 yards on 15 carries, 11 less carries, and had, I'm not doing the math, like 20 something more yards than him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess it's working, so stay with it, but it's really,
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I'm not enjoying watching the Packers right now. They're not very fun, but they're winning, and that's all you can ask for. I mean, I'd be loving it if I was a Packers fan, so I guess I can't complain. But, yeah, Geno Smith didn't have a good game, and Sam Howell played even worse when he came in after the injury.
Yeah. All right, next game, 2 Monday night games. We had the Bears and Vikings. Yet another blowout, obviously. Vikings win 30-12 to improve to 12-2. Sam Darnold 24 for 40, 231.
Yeah, I didn't see a single second of this. You totally got that game.
Yeah, I watched most
the
of
other
this game because I needed Justin Jefferson to put up some points for me. He had a touchdown. He had an abysmal dropped touchdown. Like, he was at like the 1 yard line. It's like a 40-yard bomb, and he looks away from the ball because a defender was closing in on him. So he looked away before he caught it, going to run, and just couldn't hang on because he wasn't watching it anymore. I fell out of my seat when that happened.
Well, you already won.
No, that was still in the first half. Like, I needed that. So,
dang.
Yeah, it was rough, but that's okay. They did end up getting the win. I ended up getting the win, so that's what matters. Caleb Williams struggled this game a lot. And like, we talk a lot about how good the Vikings defense is, how they switch up schemes and looks so that way it really confuses quarterbacks, especially a young quarterback like Caleb Williams. But Caleb Williams still thinks he's in college, man. Like, I don't watch many Bears games, but he was running around for his life. Watching this game with my family, my brother, which one is my brother? Margaret.
Oh, I thought you were trying to think of actually like your brother's name. I was like,
No.
no. Which one's my brother?
Which one's my brother? No. Margaret was like, on every play that Caleb Williams would pull the ball down and start to run, and he'd be like, "Did you see that?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Watch the replay." Sure enough, there'd be a wide open receiver about like 15 yards just standing there waiting for the ball. But Caleb Williams doesn't look down the field. He focuses on running because that's what he was so good at in college. Just runs around the backfield. There was 1 or 2 plays last night where it looked like, you know, when you start playing Madden for the first time and you don't really know what it is. You start mashing the buttons.
He literally was running. He spin moved, and then he's running away, and he just hits a hurdle. Oh, in the air. He hurdles the air. It was I saw that this morning. I laughed so hard when I saw that video because
that's ridiculous.
Like, I was like, okay, what's he gonna do? Like, run around. He goes, he spin moves, he needed to do that. Yeah. But then he's running left and just hits a hurdle. Oh, it was so funny. It was, what's this? Caleb Williams. He was distraught. He's hit that pose a lot of times this year.
Yeah. This thing that he's pulled up. All things considered, Caleb could finish with close to 3,500 yards and a 4-1 touchdown to interception ratio. The one bright spot of the season, and impressive, he hasn't totally fallen off a cliff like the rest of the group. Yes, he has. He has fallen off a cliff.
Yeah, stats can lie.
He is not good. You watch any of these games, it's bad. I spent too much time talking about this game.
Yeah.
Vikings win.
Yeah. We can move on to the final Monday night game. I watched more of this one. The Falcons, I probably shouldn't have. It was very boring. But Falcons went to the Raiders. The Raiders, who I think it's fair to say they're the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah.
They're playing Desmond Ritter.
The number 1 pick. No, they couldn't.
The Giants still have 2 losses.
Okay. I saw something, so it might have been just like a joke thing because they lost so bad the one week. But they couldn't have.
Desmond Ritter, they're trying him out at QB. I mean, he didn't have a horrible game, throwing for 208 yards, but 2 interceptions and a touchdown in this one. He was so bad though for fantasy because he actually managed to make Brock Bowers struggle, which hurt a lot of people for fantasy purposes. Kirk Cousins did win the Falcons the game. He did throw a touchdown, but he really didn't play very well. Only 112 yards, a touchdown, and a pick against the Raiders. So it might be Michael Penix's time soon. But Bijan ran for 125 yards. There wasn't much action in this game. The Falcons were dominating. Their defense was dominating. I had them in fantasy, and they got me 29 fantasy points, which is crazy. But the Raiders made it a game as of late, and they had a final drive. They threw kind of 2 Hail Marys. I didn't agree with this very much at all, but like they were about the 40-yard line, and they had about 15 seconds. And that's about the time to run like a quick 20-yard play, get out of bounds. And then you're set up about the 15-yard line. Instead, they wanted 2 Hail Mary tries. So they threw 2 Hail Marys to the end zone. I did not agree with that at all. But they did, and both of them fell incomplete. Actually, the one was intercepted. But Raiders dropped to 2-12. They remain number 1 pick in the draft, Shedeur Sanders. Did you see this? Every time the Raiders have lost, Shedeur Sanders on Twitter posts or tweets, whatever, I don't know, X's. Is that what it's called? He X's it now? He doesn't tweet it, he X's it.
You still tweet, but
Now he X's it.
okay,
Shedeur Sanders X's it and says, "Thank you, God." Every time the Raiders lose.
Does he want to go to the Raiders?
I don't know. He must have.
this is floating around on X for the game.
The Raiders fans are saying tank for Shedeur. I mean, I don't know why they want him.
I don't think Shedeur is that good.
I don't think he's that good. And if you get him, you're getting a locker room cancer because you're bringing him and you're bringing his dad.
Yeah.
And that's not something that I would want my team. I wouldn't want my face of my franchise to be Deion Sanders' kid because you're bringing Deion Sanders. I don't know. But the Raiders ultimately look like they're going to have the number 1 pick. They're going to take Shedeur if everything's looking like this. But who knows? Actually, there was also a video of Shedeur driving past the Raiders stadium. And he posted on Instagram,
Oh, yeah, I saw
not X.
Yeah.
And it was like he was like, "Oh, this place is so cool." I don't remember what it was, but like it's really weird. I don't know. First of all,
It's not cool, by the way.
It is cool.
Yeah, the city around it is the worst.
Oh no, but
the stadium itself
is
is
stadium.
cool.
But I don't know why he wants to go to the Raiders. Like maybe he wants to be in Vegas.
Maybe.
Like no one is like looking at the Raiders and being like,
That's the team I want
"That's
to go
the
to."
team I want to go to." I don't know, but maybe Shedeur is different. But yeah, that's the week 15 recap. So now we're gonna get into the week 12. 15 to
Wow.
12. That's how math works, Austin.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
16 pick'ems. But before that, we're going to tell you about our friends at K&F Construction. K&F Construction has been serving the Northeast Ohio community for 20 years, specializing in composite decks. K&F Construction takes the time and effort to provide the service and the product that you deserve for your home. You can call K&F Construction today at 330-575-2465 for a free estimate. Again, that's 330-575-2465. And you can also visit kfdex.com, which is linked in the description below. K&F Construction, let us build your dream backyard. All right, so Austin, this past week, we did our pick'ems like always, and we had a couple differences, and I really thought, you know, I'm going to either take a massive advantage or you're going to really come back.
Yeah.
And really, it didn't change too much. I
got one on you.
You did?
And that was
When
it.
I looked, I thought I got one on you.
No, I got one on you.
Because it was a 9-point game. Wasn't it not? I think it was 9. Now it's 10. Wait, I can
No,
do
I
this.
got one on you.
I can go to 6.
Week-
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
week
you did
15,
get
I got
one.
one
You
on
did get
you.
one.
Yeah.
You did get one. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're slowly closing the gap. You got to
I got a couple weeks to
You
do
gotta
it.
pick it up a little bit though, because you got this in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then you're going on a date with a bear.
Maybe I'll get lucky and you'll forget to submit your picks for the playoffs, and I'll just start walking away with it.
No, that will not happen. But yeah, I have a 10-point lead. I'm at 157. You're at 147, and Debbie is at 64. Yes, Debbie has been setting. Debbie has been setting his picks, and he's
Every
still at
single
64.
week. Every week he's been
He has
setting
not
it. He's
gotten a
setting it every
single
week.
game. He's not getting a single game correct since he was like week 5.
Also, I have not been I've not been putting them in.
Yeah,
I don't know. According to this, you've been
missed
setting
one
it every week.
I missed 1 week, and I've not done it since.
Debbie rage quit. Debbie rage quit.
I'm gonna delete you from the podcast.
You've been setting
Well,
it every week.
I
That's
am-
not what this says.
ESPN.
I'm
It's
going
not
to
what this
ESPN already,
says.
so it's all right, Debbie. But all right. So with that being said, we can go ahead and pick week 16. So it's starting off with a big one on Thursday night. The Broncos have a massive game against the Chargers, who actually the Broncos are leading the Chargers now. That is a crazy stat to look at. But who do you got? I have the Chargers.
I don't know who I want in this one, to be honest with you. This is a tough one for me because obviously I need this. I'm going to go with the Broncos, though.
I would have done that if I were you because you need it.
Yeah, I do need it.
So, all right. And then we got Saturday during the college football playoff. We talked about it earlier. Very dumb on the NFL's part. But we got the Texans going to Kansas City. Will they have Mahomes or will they have Carson Wentz?
To me, that's the difference. If they have Mahomes, I want to go with the Chiefs. If they don't have Mahomes, I want to go with the Texans.
These are very hard games this week.
These
I
are
was
really
looking.
tough. I'm going to...
I mean,
The
you can
Chiefs
change
have
it.
struggled.
Many times this year,
Yeah.
we've said if this team plays, this team. If this QB plays, this team. And then I've changed and you haven't, and it's hurt you. So
Yeah,
by all means, do whatever you.
Okay, I'm going to assume that Mahomes is not playing in this game. I'm going to go with the Texans. If Mahomes plays, I'd have to look at the actual injury report to see what it is that he's playing with, but I'm going to go Texans for now.
I also think Mahomes will not play in this game, but I still think the Chiefs have a chance to win because Carson Wentz is not bad.
He's not bad.
They have a solid running game. They have okay receivers. Travis Kelce's there, and their defense is so good.
For me, it also depends on how far in advance they know.
That's true.
Because if Carson Wentz gets all week with the ones,
But I still am going to pick Houston because I think the Chiefs could win, but with Carson Wentz at QB, I don't feel as confident, obviously. And the Chiefs, they can't afford to lose this game because they still have a 2-game lead over the Bills. So I'm going to go Houston in this one as well. And then we have another game during the college football playoff. Again, stupid NFL. I shouldn't say that. ESPN's not going to like me saying that. Sorry. But we got
smart NFL.
the Steelers. Yeah, super smart. Draw viewers away from the college football playoff. So we got the Steelers going to Baltimore. Big game. I think the Ravens are going to pull this one off and get revenge for a couple weeks ago.
I agree. I think Ravens win.
All right. Then we get to Sunday. We got the Giants against the Falcons.
I got
Yikes.
Falcons.
I do as well. And then we got the game I'm going to be at.
Oh.
Me and Evan are going. I'm very excited for the game. Very excited for the whole weekend. We're going to stay with with my cousins. And my family has family down in Georgia. And so we're staying with them for the weekend. It's going to be fun.
I'm gonna go.
Don't tell me.
Okay.
No,
You can go. You go. No, you can go. You go.
No.
You go.
I just assumed you want me to go first.
I do want you
because
to go
I don't
first.
want to be swayed at all and just
Yeah.
be like, I'm going to pick this because,
Yeah.
one of Debbie's siblings is playing the piano. It's really good. It is. I was being for real. It sounds good.
Today would be nice.
Let's wrap it up.
Okay. You know what?
Go with your heart.
No,
Pick with your heart.
I want the Panthers doing so bad.
Because you're there.
Obviously.
You're not going to pick against them
No.
when you're there in the stadium.
No, I'm obviously whoever I pick, I'm still screaming for the Panthers and booing Xavier Legette when he runs out on the field and
Of course.
like losing my mind at the game.
Of course.
Do I
But
actually
you
think
think
they're
the
gonna win?
Panthers are going to lose
You're so
with how well they've been playing? Wow.
I picked the Panthers, okay?
Ready?
I picked the
I
Cardinals.
picked the Panthers. I'm not glazing them. I literally just said I don't.
He said Panthers, I go Cardinals. Next game, I got Lions. Who you got?
I got the Lions as well. I got the Bengals beating the Browns.
I do too.
Yeah, I was about to say. Are you sure? You're really gonna root against your Browns?
Yeah, because we've been playing like trash. I've been picking against them for
I
weeks.
know. Titans and Colts. I got the Colts.
I do too.
Rams Jets. I got the Rams.
I have the Rams as well. Start picking different games than me.
I'm not picking the Jets to beat the Rams or the Titans to beat the Colts. This one might be different. I got the Eagles still beating Philly or still beating Washington. The Eagles are going to beat Philly. They're going to beat
That's
themselves.
really good. Yeah. No, I do too. I think they, like you said, 1A, 1B with the Bills. Commanders are really good. I think this game will be really, really entertaining, but I think the Eagles will win this one.
Yeah. Minnesota at Seattle. I have Minnesota.
I do too.
You know, you have total opportunity to just pick the different team.
I do, except for the fact that like Geno Smith has not been playing well, and I don't really know if he's going to play this week. So.
I got the Bills in the next game against the Patriots.
I do too. I'm not picking the Patriots, Caden. Stop looking at me like that.
Ooh. Wow, this game is hard. 49ers at Miami. I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
You sure you don't want to go with the 49ers?
I'm sure.
With how well they've been playing.
Do we need to go back and talk about last Thursday night's game?
I have the Dolphins too. San Francisco's been playing too bad for me to take them here.
Jaguars at the Raiders.
Raiders are actually favored in this game.
I see that. That's very strange to look at. I'm still going to go with the Jags.
I'm going to go Jags too.
Yeah. Buccaneers at Cowboys. I got the Bucks.
No, I take the Bucks first. You have to go Cowboys now.
And then we got Monday Night Football. Saints at Packers. I got the Josh Jacobs is gonna. I bet you he gets 40 carries this game for 62 yards and 4 touchdowns.
I have the Packers as well.
All right, so that's gonna be our pick'ems for Week 16. We have our special Christmas segment now, so we're gonna take a short little break, and we'll see you guys in a minute. I didn't make my picks on my other pick'em as well.
All right, Caden. So our segment this week, normally we do something like our Hail Mary, our Audible, our fantasy picks of the week. But in the spirit of Christmas, since you have that nice hat on,
Thank you.
and I have this awesome sweater on, that's not an ugly
That's
sweater.
not what you named it, but yes.
I called it an awesome sweater, I think. If you remember, 2 years ago, we did over Christmas time, we broke down, was our Christmas movies.
I think you named movies that I've never heard of, because that's what you do. You try to do the most weird things as possible.
I literally,
Always. Is that Debbie? Is that not the Austin move? That is so the Austin move.
I literally have never picked the most random things ever. I always pick things that are the best things My top 5 is the top 5. So today we will be breaking down our top 5 Christmas traditions
That we do.
Not you and I, because we don't have traditions together, but our families independently. So, so
You can go ahead and take number 5.
we're gonna start it. We each have different lists here because obviously, again, we don't do Christmas together. But so I'm gonna say my 5, Caden his 5, and we're gonna work our way up.
What?
So, my number 5, very fitting, I feel like, is to watch football on Christmas Day.
Okay. There's one issue with that is that last year was the 2 years ago was the first time there's ever been football on Christmas Day.
Yeah, well, it's my favorite. It goes to number 5.
So I didn't put that on my list because I like
you wouldn't.
spending time with family.
ESPN, watch this guy.
Shoot.
He doesn't watch football
All right,
on
guys,
Christmas Day.
Mom watches the game.
Honorary mention, football. There you go. ESPN now will like me.
Yeah.
I already got the contract, so yeah.
So what's your number 5?
My number 5 is we do a lot of things on Christmas Eve. Okay. I know I'll get to it. Debbie in Austin clown me for it. Well, hold on. My number 5 is we always go to the Christmas Eve service at church. Always. Obviously. It's the candlelight service.
It's your number 5.
Fine.
No,
Since mine-
that's your number 5.
my 5.
Fine,
That's
put it at your 5. That's fine.
It's on my 5.
It's your 5.
We always go 5.
You put it at 5. That's
I
fine.
knew he was going to say. You are too predictable because I knew if I said that, you were going to go, why is it so low on your list?
Hey, at
No.
least it made the list.
Of course it would make the list. At least I don't have football on my list. Okay?
That's supposed to be a good thing on a football podcast.
Yeah,
It's not a flex.
Family
Okay.
over football.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go. What's your number
all right.
4?
My number 4 is after my family opens the presents and everything, we make a cream cheese ball.
That's
It's
so
like-
gross.
No, it's great. It's like
No.
it's cream cheese and nuts and other cheese
This is getting close.
and
That's so gross.
like pomegranates
A
as
fruit?
well. Yeah. And then you have crackers and you like eat the cheese ball all day
You.
with the crackers and maybe jelly. It's a great time. That's at my number 4. I love that thing.
I don't want to go to Christmas with your family ever. I don't want to eat a cream cheese ball. Just kidding. You know, that's a great tradition.
Thank you. I like it a lot. I'm not shaking your hand. You're dogging on me for that.
No, I changed my mind.
Okay,
I
okay.
apologize. Thank you. Okay, my number 4.
Yeah, you're 4. You can't be skip 3.
My number 4 is Christmas morning. We've always done a brunch with all my cousins and aunts and uncles, and they all come over to our house and we do brunch. So it's a huge array of crap. Again, my mind just went blank.
Of food?
Yes,
people?
of food, but
Of-
I was trying to think of what food.
What array goes on?
Oh, charcuterie?
No,
Oh.
no, ew.
What?
A charcuterie board
Yes.
of cheeses and stuff.
He already clowned on the cheese ball. He doesn't like cheese.
Yeah, no. No.
Olives?
Breakfast.
Oh, breakfast food.
Breakfast food.
Waffles,
No.
pancakes,
French toast?
French
casserole,
French toast stuff is there. Why can't I think?
Fruit?
donuts.
Well, yeah, fruit's there. Donuts is sometimes there.
Ham?
It's.
Picture it.
I am picturing.
All right,
it.
describe it to me.
This
Describe
is
it to
making me really frustrated. It's baked in a thing,
Yeah.
and it's
Debbie, ChatGPT this as we go.
it's like it comes out. It's kind of yellow, and it's you can
Eggs?
chop it. Eggs are in it.
Like an egg bake?
Egg bake. Yes. Thank you. Fist bump me. It's an egg bake. Egg bake is there. Sometimes biscuits and gravy is there.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of good foods there. So egg bake is my favorite, and that's what.
Okay.
And so we have a brunch.
That's very fun.
Could not think of egg
Food,
bake.
food for our 4s.
Wow.
That works.
Food for our force. Oh,
Yeah.
I like that.
All right.
Except yours is.
Mine is better.
Okay.
At my number 3, on Christmas Day, we always go to my grandparents' house, my family, my grandparents, my aunt, uncle, cousins are all there. Open the presents, and as it always happens, especially with younger kids, they sell these toys to kids, but they never include the batteries. And so for my number 3 is the search around the house for batteries that work. You're taking the batteries out of the remotes, trying to get this toy for the kids to work. You're going downstairs, like the old toys, trying to take batteries out of that stuff. It's a great time. You can never find the battery you need because they always use like a C battery, and who uses that except for in the big toys? So that's my number 3 is the search for batteries.
Oh, that's a fun one.
I think so.
Yeah, makes sense. And I think that's a pretty fair thing to say because I know I almost just spoiled my brother's gift.
Ooh, that would have been bad.
That would have been really bad. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. Actually, I don't think he watches.
Which brother?
Brady.
Oh, okay. First off, here's an actual representation of Caden with his family's egg bake. This was a picture from last year that Debbie pulled up.
She looked like last year.
Yeah,
That's actually you.
that's what I looked like last
and
year
you
too.
say it was Brady?
It was.
Brady, whatever gift you got, it involves batteries. So.
No. No.
No.
But yeah, I like that. That's fun.
Thank you.
My number 3 is not actually on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, but in the Christmas time,
Okay.
my family, we will drive around and we'll go look at Christmas lights at people's houses, and sometimes we'll go to like Quill Hollow used to do a light show. They might still, but we didn't go this year. Obviously, the Marketplace did one this year, and I kind of worked it. And so we go look at Christmas lights. We haven't yet this year, which is a bummer. And we're really busy this week, so I was talking to my mom about it yesterday, and she was like, "I don't know if we're gonna be able to this year." And I was like, "Oh, that kind of is a bummer." And I was like, "Why can't we this night?" And
And it's on your top 5 too.
I know.
They're not gonna let you do it on your top 5.
It's number 3. It's number 3. So Christmas lights, number 3.
That's a good number 3. I like that one. For my number 2, every year for Christmas, again at the grandparents' house, we open presents. We look for batteries. We eat.
The more I think about it, the more I like that.
We eat dessert, which is normally an assortment of pies. And then as we're eating dessert, we are like opening our stockings at about the same time. And my grandparents always get scratch-off tickets to go in the stockings. And so scratching off the scratch-off tickets, that's part number 2. It's a great time.
Nice. So my number 2 is partially kind of like yours. We open presents on Christmas Eve. Okay?
Oh.
That's what my family has always done, and I love it. It's what we've always done, and so that's partially like the number 2 is just the whole Christmas Eve night and doing that's what we've always done. So honestly, we celebrate Christmas Eve just as much as Christmas Day, kind of, That's what we've always done. And so, but ever since we were like little, I don't know the exact age, but we would always, me and my brothers, always, one of our gifts every single year, time and time again, no matter what, without fail, would be a calendar for our room. And so it would just, not a joke, like it wouldn't become a joke, but it would become a thing of, what calendar are you going to get this year,
Yeah.
And so some of the years, like the one year, what was like you can get random calendars, like not random, but like I got a Star Wars calendar, and I'm not a Star Wars fan, but like just the calendars are fun, and every year it's like, what calendar are you gonna get? And the one year, my mom and we always we see the gifts under the tree, and we're like, these ones are the calendars. You can see it flat laying there. And so my mom got bowls from our house and put them on top of the calendar, and then wrapped it so it was like a hump, so you couldn't see the calendar. And so it's just a matter of what calendar you're gonna get. And so no idea what calendar I'm gonna get this year. Maybe I'm gonna get a
ESPN calendar.
my new job.
You never know.
Oh my. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Mom, if you're listening, give me an ESPN calendar. There we go. But that was my number 2. Kind of the whole Christmas Eve night of the opening with my family and being there, and the tradition of having our Christmas Eve and then telling everybody we open presents on Christmas Eve, and they're like,
And watch the reaction of what is wrong with you.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, at my number 1, drum roll please. I have
No.
the Christmas Eve service, specifically when we light the candles and sing Silent Night at the end of the service. That's my number one
You
Christmas
make me
tradition.
so mad. That probably wasn't your number one. And
It
then
was my
when I
number
said
one
it
the whole
was
time.
5, you're
Nope.
like, oh, I'm gonna make this guy look so bad.
No. Actual representation of Caden last year opening
I looked
his
like that
calendar.
too.
He looked like that too last year. Caden, where's that sweater? That's a great sweater. Should've worn that.
It doesn't fit anymore.
Can you do that face for the camera real quick?
No,
Can you make your eyes bulge like that?
no, they don't get that big anymore. That was last year. I've changed since then.
We'll
But-
see when you open the ESPN calendar. How big it is.
Yeah. I'll send you a picture when I get the ESPN calendar, and it'll look just like that. I'll put that sweater on too.
Yeah.
My number one, I like that, is also on Christmas Eve. After the service, we go back and we have a big dinner with our family. It's like we make like different stuff every year. Like the one year we did hibachi. My dad did hibachi. The one year we did just big steak. Like I had like the biggest steak I've ever had, and I ate it all. So it was good. And like so we always do like a fun dinner after the service. And so I don't know what we're doing this year because my dad said, "What do you want for the Christmas Eve dinner?" And I said, "Hibachi." And he said, "I think it's gonna be too cold to do that." I think that's his excuse because he doesn't want to stand outside in the cold.
It's a good excuse. I wouldn't do that
Yeah,
either.
yeah. It's a pretty valid excuse. I wouldn't want to either. But yeah, Christmas Eve dinner. You know,
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a great list.
Thank
I
you.
won't dog on it too much, other than church being so low.
Caden, real question though.
Yeah.
Why don't you do Christmas on Christmas instead of on Christmas Eve?
Well, we
You literally do every single
No.
thing.
do Christmas on Christmas too, but we do
What do you have left?
we do Christmas Eve. We do Christmas on Christmas Eve with my family, like me, my mom, my dad, and Brady and Landon, and then sometimes like my grandpa will come. Yeah, he's came the last couple of years, and then so that'll be us, and we'll eat dinner and then we'll open presents and we'll be there and we'll go to the service on Christmas Eve.
Right?
Yeah, we'll do Christmas, and then on Christmas morning, my cousins come over and my aunts and uncles, and we'll do like we do the brunch. They're over at our house for the whole day. We'll eat cookies throughout the day. We do a gift exchange
Nothing
with
like
them.
cookies at 9 a.m.
Oh yeah, it's great. Especially like the Christmas sugar cookies for some reason.
Oh, I don't
So
know.
good.
Not sugar cookies.
Okay, dude, we
This
got a
conversation's
whole
for another
like
time.
Christmas choir up there. You hear that?
I do hear that.
And then we do like a gift exchange with everyone. So we do Christmas on both days.
Interesting.
Whatever you say, man.
I love this conversation because I always get dogged on for it, and like
That's your shit.
you hate it because you ain't it. You hate us because you ain't us. You know,
That's what they say.
you can't knock it till you try it. Someday you need to try Christmas on Christmas Eve, and it'll change your life.
Maybe one day I'll try. Well, that's gonna do it for our episode. It's a great time. Got to recap the games, talk about our Christmas stuff, and like I alluded to earlier, this is
ESPN.
Caden's last episode. Caden, do you want to tell the viewers actually why you're not coming back, or are we gonna go with the ESPN? series?
No, I can tell them. Unfortunately, I am not going to ESPN.
Ah.
Would be really cool if I got like $1 million to go be on ESPN, but ESPN just hasn't found our podcast yet. We're just waiting. Like 2
waiting.
years time,
Yeah.
we'll both be at ESPN. Like they're gonna have a special segment. They're probably gonna kick the Pat McAfee show off of the
Yeah.
air, and we're gonna.
That's what we're hearing in it. That's the word on the street.
That's what. Yeah, like Stephen A. Smith reached out. He doesn't do their negotiation, but in negotiating. But in this instance, he did.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey,
Special occasion.
like 2 years time, keep it going. Pat McAfee's gonna be gone. We're booting him, and we're putting you guys in because we really like you guys are up and coming.
Yeah.
You know, and we're like, oh, okay. And they're like, keep this under wraps. So if you're hearing this, you
Don't
can't
tell anyone.
You can't
Can't
tell
tell anyone.
anybody either. So, but so that's in 2 years. But for the next 6 months, I won't be here. Austin's gonna be continuing to do the podcast. I'm gonna be at YWAM, which is Youth with a Mission. So I'm gonna be doing missions work, kind of like what Debbie did. I'll be at doing a DTS school for 3 months, and then I'll be overseas in another country for another 2.5 months. So I will not be here. I will be in Louisville, Kentucky for a while, and then in another country, wherever that may be. And yeah, so Austin's gonna hold the
Gotta
reins of
hold
the
down the fort.
podcast for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And then I'll be back for next season. And yeah. And then in 2 years' time we'll be at ESPN.
So obviously, as the season comes to an end, you get to see my lovely face and only my lovely face. Maybe we'll get some guests on here to kind of break up the monotony. But in the meantime, every time you don't see Caden, make sure you say a prayer for him for discipleship training, and then obviously as the time comes around for his missions and everything like that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Looking forward to seeing you guys, not next week because it's Christmas, so we won't be doing an episode, but the week after.